Welcome to Garage Brewing. I'm Tom, and this is Homebrew Wednesday number 2. Well, we're not brewing anything in the garage this week, and it's only been a couple of weeks since we brewed our rye pilsner with the bog myrtle and our pumpkin ale. And my glass is empty. But luckily I've got lots of beer to choose from this week. But I think I'm going to start with this one. This is a bottle of Brad & Tom's Smoked Oatmeal and Banana Stout. We brewed it right here in the garage about 2 months ago. We call it the Little SOB. You can have a look at it right here. I like these little stubby bottles. A lot, actually, but more on that later. It's a typical stout that we brewed a 10-gallon batch. It's mostly Maris Otter with some black patent, some crystal, some chocolate malt, of course. I think there's some Brie special roast in there and some Cara Red. As well, we added about 3 kilograms of rolled oats to the mash. But before we put the oats in the mash, we added them to my hardwood smoker with some hickory wood and about 8 bananas. We smoked the whole thing, the oats and the bananas, for about 60 minutes at about 300 degrees, very hot fire, until the oats were nice and charred and the bananas were black and a little bit mushy. We took that whole mess and added it to our mash tun with our grains, mashed all that for about 60 minutes at 150, 153, and then we transferred it all to the boil kettle where we hopped with some EKG and some Fuggles, typical stout kind of stuff. So let's crack it open and see what happened. Alright, let's give this a taste. Head's dying down a little bit and it's lacing pretty well. I'll admit this is a dirty glass. I've had a couple of beers in this already, but it shows. Let's give it a whirl. Definitely stouty. Good mouthfeel, probably from the oatmeal. A lot of chocolate malt presence for sure. Can't say I taste a lot of banana in there, and if I didn't put them in myself, I wouldn't believe it. Good beer. Yeah, I'll have more of those. Alright, well, what else has been going on in the garage? As I mentioned, we haven't been brewing in the last couple of weeks, but we have been busy. You can see we've got a lot of beers here. These are some local Ontario beers that Brad and I picked up on a bit of a road trip last week. And why did we go on a road trip? This is why. This is 9 cases, about 180 bottles of original, made in Canada, 341 milliliter glass stubbies from I don't even know when. They're in great shape, and even better, they were only $30 for all 9 cases. The bad news is they were in Hamilton, and the garage here is in Ottawa. And if you look at a map quick, you'll see that Ottawa and Hamilton, not so close together. Somehow I managed to convince my brew partner Brad that we should drive down there and pick up the bottles. And we decided to make a day trip out of it, and on the way we stopped at a few breweries. After we picked up the bottles in Hamilton, our next stop was in Cambridge, Ontario, where we visited Grand River Brewing. We picked up some Mill Race, Pugnacious Pale Ale, some 1913 Tradition, and this year's seasonal a Highball Pumpkin Ale, which I believe is only available at the brewery. Just can't wait to get on the road again. Going places I never want to see again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. Next, we headed to Guelph, Ontario, where we visited the Wellington Brewery. We picked up some one-off beers, the Bootchuck IPA and the Wellington One-Off Sub Porter. We also picked up some of their amazing Imperial Russian Stout and the Wellington Special Pale Ale. Just up the road from the Wellington, also in Guelph, is the F&M Brewery, makers of Stonehammer. There we picked up some McLean's Pale Ale, the Stonehammer Dark Ale, and some Stonehammer Premium Pilsner. On our way home, we also stopped in Peterborough, Ontario, where right on the main drag on a little storefront is the Publican House Brewery, a small craft brewery where we picked up some house ale and the Square Nail Pale Ale. While in Peterborough, we also stopped at the Old Stone Brewhouse, where they don't sell beer to take away, but we did have a few drafts with our dinner that night. It was excellent. The food was great, and the beer was awesome. Thanks for watching Garage Brewing, Homebrew Wednesday number 2. Bye for now.